Welcome, friend. Welcome. We have a lot to talk about today, a lot, in a short amount of time, so let's get going. First, I want to do a couple of things. Number one, if you have not subscribed, how many here right now have not subscribed? How many? You must subscribe to this channel. It is imperative for our growth, for the proliferation of the world, of the news, for you to like these videos, to boost the algorithm, and to subscribe. And to hit that little bell so you're always notified of new videos and the like. That we ask, so please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Show the world what you believe in. Second of all, I am going to appear and will appear and have said that I will appear July. I can't believe it's already here. But the time is coming and I cannot wait to appear at the Cutting Room on January the 14th. And I want to see each and every one of you great and bold and grand Americans and those citizens of the world to join me, enjoying the fun, the frolic, the mayhem, and the mirth. That's right, the mirth. Never forget our mirth. Mirth is critical. God knows we need the mirth. At the Cutting Room, this is January the 14th. Doors open at 6. I hit the stage at 7. And it's going to be a time that, well, very frankly, you will never forget. What it is kind of like a tragic comedy. I know it sounds weird to say this, but it's like a tragic comedy look at the world. And someone very... there is the information and link for that. Someone wrote very interestingly, we have to return to sanity. And I cannot possibly agree with that enough, because this isn't even, how do I say this? This isn't even a question of sanity as it is just disruption of rational thought. I don't understand. I saw something right now, which I ask you to watch. And every now and then I tell you to do this, and I want you to, and it's important. I watched an MSDNC piece put on by Rachel Maddow explaining the Kevin McCarthy debacle. And she was absolutely correct. And this, I know, has a rather kind of a dull sound to it. But from a political point of view, it appears to everyone that the Republican Party is completely discombobulated, that there's no coherence. There's no, how do I say this? There is no, I guess the word is, there simply is no sense of focus and community of spirit, of address, because it seems to the world, I think correctly, that the Republican Party is just out to lunch and gone. And that's number one. Number two, what is your take, if there is, what is your take regarding these individuals, these folks who are dropping dead, who are going through these most incredibly horrible tragedies? And what do you think about this young, ostensibly in shape, professional football player who drops dead, drops because of apparently a cardiac arrest of some sort? Now, we want, obviously, there to be nothing wrong. We want him to recover. But why is this? Now, the answer is we don't know. But isn't that interesting? How many people? Now, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say, and I know what you're always going to attribute. Every form of sudden mortality. I know how you think. I don't think that's a very correct means of addressing the issue. I know there's all kinds of talks about vaccines and the effects of that. We simply don't know. We don't have any longitudinal study. I am going to tell you something right now, and I'm going to posit an idea. And this has nothing to do with this young man's situation. And of course, if you pray, please pray for him and his family for a quick recovery. This is a world-class athlete. But what we are going to find out, eventually, and this is true, is little by little, more than you would imagine, we are going to see the effect of diet. And again, not on this. I'm not talking about this case. I have no information. I'm not a physician. I don't have any kind of information or no. But let me tell you something that happened a while back ago. Nobody wants to address this. In Korea, during the Korean War, pathologists, physicians were able to look and do scads, if you will, of I don't know if the word is of autopsies on young men who died tragically during war. It was the first time since World War II where you could obviously have this, where you would have this sample. And they could not believe the amount of extraneous or not extraneous, of visible coronary artery disease just by gross inspection of the heart. Next came Vietnam, and the numbers were through the roof. Young, healthy men killed, but upon looking at inspections of the heart, seeing fatty deposits, coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, etc., etc., etc. For the first time in the longest time, kids were showing fatty streaks in blood and blood sampling and the like. And we can't get around this. And I am telling you, as sure as anything else, you are going to find out, and this is going to be contrary to so many people, especially on YouTube, so many self-styled dietary experts. And again, let me repeat, I have nothing to say, no opinion regarding Damar Hamlin or his case or anything else, or any particular case in particular, obviously. But what I'm talking about is something which is even more important. And that is that we are not handling the idea of diet and fat in our system. And when I see something, the other night I was watching something that was about, it was one of the YouTube channels on food, and it was steak or something. And they were at a very famous New York steakhouse. I'm not going to tell you which one. And they showed you how they made it. And they had the steak, which of course was saturated fat, animal tissue, with whatever is in that meat to begin with. They broiled it. They, high temperature, and then they soaked it in butter and then fried that so it came out sizzling. So this is steak slathered in butter. Now, I'm not going to comment on that per se. Let me ask you this question. Speaking of insanity, the same people who went berserk over a mask, the same people who would go crazy over you standing too close to them during a time of either pandemic or the like, thinks absolutely nothing. Looks at you and says, I don't know what you're talking about. It tastes good. I like that. Or they'll usually just joke about it. They'll say, oh, come on, I like my butter. And it's true. Butter tastes wonderful. Steak is wonderful. Mark my words. The number one, again, I say this for the third or fourth time. I'm not speaking about this young man's case on the gridiron. But the number one death absolutely in this country is coronary artery disease, heart attack, coronary incidents that are preventable through lifestyle and diet. That's it. It's an absolute fact. Not congenital, not lifestyle and diet. Period. And nobody will talk about it. Nobody even, it's the most incredible thing in the world. And they will talk about everything, but there'll be the most incredible discussions of whether keto versus this, whether coconut oil versus this. People who love this notion of, and let me tell you something. Remember, I'm the there is no better carnivore. There is nothing that I think tastes better to me than steak. Nothing. Wow. Pork. It's hard. I was made for that. And what you will do when you tell people, when you say this, among other things, not to mention processed foods, oil, fat, saturated fat, everywhere, is killing us through coronary artery disease, which we don't have to have. And what's even worse is in the poorer communities, African American, Latino in particular. Diabetes, hypertension, coronary incidents, blindness, renal failure, dialysis, name it. Now that's a fact. And what happens is when people don't like a fact, they will change it. They will come up with these things that will say, well, you know, we were meant to be carnivores. And they will come up with this fantasy. And they will point to, I think, a canine, this tooth here. They will point to it and say, that is why we have to eat meat. Anyway, I'm not going to go in. I'm saying, you want to talk about sanity? That's sanity. From the same people who know nothing, who think that a paper mask is going to stop anything. From those people who have this talismanic kind of a focus on a mask, do not dare look at diet. And let me also tell you something which nobody wants to discuss, and you will never hear this on any NFL show. There's an expression when it comes to the brain. If you shake it, you break it. And this is something which is absolutely the truth. If you shake it, you break it. And if you do something to constantly causing this, and again, I'm not talking about this young man on the field, but this and this, boxing, even young girls in soccer taking headers, we have a skull which protects the brain, but the brain was never intended to be knocked around. It's that simple. And you have got to be crazy to let your kids play football. Crazy. And there's no, and I know one case in particular where this father is living vicariously through his son. Kid's not going to go to the NFL, not going to get a scholarship, not going to get anything. But there's this weird kind of a tribal thing about football. It's insane. And let me tell you something right now. You're going to see one day some of your favorite NFL stars drooling in their oatmeal. I'm telling you this. I know you don't like it. I know you don't care for this. I know you don't like to hear this. I recognize the fact. I got it. I really do. I understand that this is something that you just don't care for. But what I'm saying to you and what I'm telling you is the truth. The amount of CTEs that we're going to get, that you're going to see, is through the roof. CTEs. It's going to chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Tau protein deposits you're going to be able to see without having to do necrotic studies or not necrotic, but autopsies and necropsies and post-mortem. You're going to be able to look at people right away. And this is going to destroy professional football and contact sports in particular, but football in particular. Why? Because parents, mothers, are not going to let their kids go in. The feeder system will be killed. Pop Warner, high school, blah, 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 blah. It's absurd. When you get older, you start to see friends of yours, and maybe yourself, maybe not as, and all your life, the stuff that you always say, you can always remember a joke, always remember a phone number, always, but we're not talking about remembering a name or forgetting a name. We're talking about something even deeper. But nobody wants to discuss that, because when it comes to our health, we're the weirdest thing about it. We are absolutely, talk about insane. We don't know what to eat. We don't read anything. And we get into pockets of people. There was this wonderful line that I heard yesterday, and it was so terrific. And I wrote this down. And it deals with the government, the shadow government is most effective at wielding stigma to dissuade and discourage people. Thought and critical understanding. Wielding stigma. And whether it's because it's a conspiracy theory, whether it's some liberal and we do it too, you do it, that's woke, that's right wing, that's this. We're very good at this. And when it comes to it, and when we don't like reality, we just change it. We just change it. It's not true. No, it's not true. No. Or we do this one. Well, it's better than this. That's my favorite. Marijuana. Today, this skunk weed stuff is killing people. Not in terms of actual physical death, but brains, and we have never seen. We are not going to be able to test this sample. You're not going to be hearing anything about it. But whether it's vaping, whether it's regular stuff, we don't understand how people just don't like reality. So they'll say, well, it's better than cigarettes. And they will say this. It's better than cigarettes. Okay. It's better than such and such. Okay. It's better than that? Yes, it is. It's better than cigarettes. Olive oil is better than coconut oil. Olive oil. And then you get into these seed oil people. There's this thing, these seed oil, and they speak with this ferocity. Why are you talking about oil to begin with? Shut up. I'm going to create my own world. I don't like your reality, but I'll show you the studies. I don't want to see your studies. I don't like them. I want to see this. But football's great. I don't know, football. I played football. Football's great. It's American. Friday nights, Saturday college football. It's America. I don't want to hear about this. All the tackling dummies. Stuff that's innocuous, that's repetitive, that builds up over a period of time, that affects brain connection. Nobody wants to hear it. They're not interested in that. They don't want to hear that. So that's what we do. And it's politics, it's religion, it's health, it's fact, it's history, it's law, it's anything. Whenever we don't like something, we just say it. We just say, okay, I'll make something up. I'll make up some kind of a version to do this. And you can just wait. And it's the most incredible thing in the world. And I'm fascinated by it. And nobody will ever tell you, well, you don't understand. And they did it with smoking. You don't remember this, because smoking, thank God, I think I think it's pretty much gone. I think it's gone. But there was this time when people would talk about the benefits of cigarettes. You know, and they always do this. My grandfather used to smoke, blah, 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 blah. And they would do this. They would talk about smoking. And like my grandfather, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. I'm just responding. I'm not trying to counter what you're saying. I'm not saying, I just don't like your ideas. By the way, I just got this little update. This cracks. I don't know why I'm laughing so much. It's not funny. McCarthy, short of votes as House Speaker contest enters final hours. A small group of conservatives refuses to back Kevin McCarthy's second bid to run the House. Is this the leadership committee, the Despite desperate last-minute efforts, including serving the entire caucus Chick-fil-A in the office he hopes to will be his, McCarthy, as early Tuesday morning, had not yet convinced enough of the holdouts to back him. Now, that may or may not be good, I guess, sort of, maybe, I guess. But this goes to show you, changing the subject just a tad, the complete and total disruption of the Republican Party. Democrats never do that. They never turn their back on Nancy. They never turn their back. I love this. Somebody says, every man has his vice. I'm just going to, inflammation, very important. FDA is bought and paid for. Okay, so true. Propaganda. I beg to differ respectfully. Sports is the lifeline in the rural areas. Not when it affects mental capacity. You understand this? This is something which is I can't. You see, this is the part that's so interesting. It is important to me. It is important to me. This is, I don't care about this. In rural areas, we need this gladiator type of behavior. And I'm sorry, but there goes our entertainment. What about these young men? Well, you know, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at something else. I'm looking at the bigger picture. You see what's happening? We create our reality. Whenever we don't like something, we say, well, you know, that's just the way it is. Kids will be kids. Whatever it is. Name anything that you will not change, whether it's my favorite. And I'm not going to do it here, is to talk about religion. They always tell you, don't talk about politics and religion. That's what I love to talk about. You want to see something, listen to what people talk about religion and how they justify their faith. They can't even do it. And they don't want to do it. And they don't appreciate you bringing it up. Oh, it's something. Now, in the meantime, I want to talk to you quickly but thoroughly about two things. Number one, our sponsors. We love our sponsors. They make it great. They have faith in us, and we have faith in them. And we support them. Don't we, class? Yes, we do. The first is MyPillow, the great Mike Lindell. A man who is made to be, well, can you think of anyone in recent time, anyone who has been through so much, who has had to endure the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune than this man? Have you? I don't know. But right now, only if you use promo code Lionel. Look what he's got right now. The biggest bed sheet sale ever. MyPillow Percale sheet sets as low as $29.98. Overstock sales. My slippers. MyPillow sandals. Mattresses. Plush blankets. Beach towels. Go anywhere pillows. Oh my God, it's a potpourri from a great and a glorious man. And now's the time to do it. Quilts, throw blankets, waffle blankets, comforters. Look at this. Look at the deals. Look at the quality. Look at what it is. MyPillow.com. Please, I ask you, go and you always use promo code Lionel. Remember, he believes in us. Let's show these people how powerful we are with this. I mean it. 800-645-4965. Whenever you see him on TV, whatever, he talks about himself, but nobody talks about him. Well, I like him, and I respect him. And that's a big factor in where I do business. Sorry, but that's the way that is, and it's absolutely true. Here we go. Another one, too, is this. Oh, this is the most beautiful one in the world. Now, I say this. You want to talk about somebody changing their mind. This is the issue of, and I'm sorry to say this again. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to mock people. But one of my favorites is when it comes to food shortages. What people say. This is what I've heard so far. And I'm serious. And I'm not trying to mock people. I'm just telling you, this is what I'm hearing. Well, I have a dehydrator. I said, no. What if there is a food emergency? What if because of supply chains, of God knows what? What are we going to do? What are you going to do? Well, I heard this. I've got a fishing pole. You're going to go and fish every day for 30 days? Hey, good news, kids. Trout. Maybe, I guess, I don't know. During an emergency? Well, we do can. I've got some tomato. See, this is the part. It's almost, and I'm sorry, but this is where people just do it almost out of a reflex. My Patriot Supply is like nothing else. And you have to use the code preparewithlionel.com. Use it. Go and look at the link I just put up there, preparewithlionel.com. Right now, you get a $250 discount off the 30-day supply. That's what you have to have minimum per person. Look at the way it is. 25 years shelf life, 2,000 calories a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks. In reusable, these pouches that have nothing in store, no pun intended, but storage and safety and variety for 30 days at a time. There's nothing like this. This doesn't exist. And the first time they close one store during whatever, could be natural, could be a storm, could be whatever, then the panic sets in. And you saw what happened when people went crazy during the Rona, when people were hoarding on toilet paper for a reason nobody understood. So that's it. Preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Support our sponsors and look at what you can do to protect your family. Now, I want to go back and I want to explain these things. I want to ask, and this is what I've been saying for the longest time, explaining this, the way we look at life, reality, we twist, we create our own reality. We create our own world. When I've tried to talk to people about Trump, nobody can talk, either the pro-Trump or anti-Trump group, can talk about him without losing their mind. There are people who are almost, I guess you might want to call them acolytes, zealots, who believe that he is some kind of a, I don't know, he's coming down on some cloud or something. I don't know. I do not know. Politics is brutal. Politics is about shifts. Politics is history. Politics is looking at what's, where are we going? What is happening? And yet, and I'm sure you're seeing this too, people just, and here's the best part. The Democratic Party, Democrats themselves, I don't know what they're doing. A shadow government that controls them is very effective. But when it comes to the Republicans, worthless. You would think somebody would say, we are going to be united to show the rest of the world when we go after, let's say, Hunter or Biden or whatever it is, that there is a unanimity, there's 218 votes or whatever, that there is this solidarity, the way the Democrats show. But that's not the way it is. Because you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, or she's for him, and you got Matt Gaetz, and you got this one, and then you have these superstars who one day their dream is to be the next Fox News, the way the left goes to CNN. Because Carrie Lake she just wants that Fox News thing. Why? Well, she was on TV. She's very good, photogenic. She knows how to handle a camera. Even her glossy background. Tulsi Gabbard, wait till you see that one. That's what they want. They want to pretend to be these Republicans. They want to be the media stars, which is nothing wrong with it. I understand, and I dig that. But there's this fractious dissension, and that has got to stop. So you think about that, my friends. Now, a couple of things. I want you to sign up for Lynn's Warriors, Mrs. L's newsletter. Cannot emphasize this enough. It is the best, the most comprehensive, weekly, free result you can possibly get ever. It is without peer. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you grasp what I'm saying? It is incredible. Also, I want you to go and sign up for her. I'm going to give you the link right now. This is her link. You go click this on. It takes you right to the subscription. And I want you to sign up for Lynn's Warriors YouTube channel. The best stuff there is that nobody is doing. Nobody. And I could tell you why nobody's doing it, but that would be whatever. Now, as far as Twitter goes, it's here. YouTube, at Lynn's Warriors. These are important for you to know this. You can't just look at YouTube only. You have to go and you have to be a part of the collective ecosystem, a word I loathe and I despise more than you can imagine. And one more time, my friends, one more time. I'm going to be at, like I said, put her right here, at the cutting room. I want to see you. I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that like you cannot simply believe. All right, my friends. Listen, you have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much for watching. The new year is, I guess, has everybody gotten rid of their tree? We had to remove Ed, and frankly, it was very sad. It was very sad. Somehow removing the tree, taking the tree down is very, very, very sad. But such is life. Metamorphosis, change, growth. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change me that sincerely. See you tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.